There's a mic up there already. I'm gonna call you up, okay?
Who's the mic on?
I'm gonna call you up for the blessing.
Who's the mic on?
I didn't realize. I lost track of time.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Do you want I just go up there and do it?
I'm gonna call you up.
Okay.
Welcome, everyone. Please take your seats. Welcome to Beacon House's 30th anniversary celebration. At this time, we'd like to welcome Reverend Eleanor Piez to bless the food.
It is so special to be here and to be here in person and to see all these faces. Would you join me in the spirit of prayer? Holy Spirit, who dwells within us, among us, and beyond us, we give thanks for the food that we are about to receive and for the hands that prepared it and the hands that serve it. And we give thanks for one another. Just take a minute and catch someone's eye, give them a smile. It's okay to look up for just a second. In the spirit of prayer, we celebrate this community and being together. We give thanks for the Holy Spirit that flowed through Reverend Don Robinson and created Beacon House. And we give thanks for those other important creators Jeff Leonard, Charlie Robinson, who made it possible. And we give thanks for all the children who've come through the doors over generations. We give thanks for all who have come before us, all who will come after, all who are coming along right now. Through your creative spirit, oh God, that makes all things possible, we are nourished and inspired to carry on this work in your name and under your power of life and love. Amen.
You can start your first course. and gentlemen, please turn your attention to the video screens.
Beacon House has done an amazing job of supporting our students and their families, making sure that they have the resources to serve their educational needs. As Ward 5 council member, I am immensely proud to be able to work alongside the dedicated staff and the entire team here at Beacon House to continue to do the phenomenal work that they've been providing for decades.
The great thing about coaching at Beacon House is that, you get to set the standard, and you get to set the standard, and you get to instill certain characteristics of the children that's up here. It's not just sports up here. There's more resources in Beacon House's community than what's on the surface. So don't think, oh, my son can't play football, he don't need to be up here. That's not what Beacon House is.
My favorite part about going to Beacon House was when I got to participate in other programs like Jules or Girls in Actions. Well, they usually help us with our homework.
One of the reasons I like Beacon House was because I didn't receive only academic help, but emotional help. So if I came home with a bad day at school or a bad feeling, my teachers would help me sort out my emotions. Beacon House was part of the reason I got into Banneker, because they were the ones keep making sure my grades were up. Every time I got a report card, they would send a copy.
It's the root of this community. It's kind of like part of the glue that holds Edgewood together. Without the Beacon House, I just don't know that we would be we would thrive as much as we do here.
We are thrilled to have the illustrious Bruce Johnson as our Master of Ceremonies. Bruce served 44 years as an anchor and reporter on WUSA 9 before retiring in 2020. Over his career, he won 22 Emmys. Now he is a businessman and author. His second book, Surviving Deep Waters, is out now. Ladies and gentlemen, Bruce Johnson.
Good evening. Good evening. I wish I'd never used that word, retired, because I've never worked so hard, and that, and been in demand so much. Okay, especially when people know that you're going to respond when it comes to charity. This place is at the top of my list. I was called and told about this. I think the conversation lasted maybe 15 seconds. Absolutely. Beacon House? Oh, hell yeah. I'm there. So, I've written a book, and we'll get to that later. It's called Surviving Deep Waters. And the reason why I was taken by Beacon House so quickly, it had to do with the young people, okay? And they had everything to do with why I came into this business. I wanted to make sure I could put young people like the people you serve at Beacon House on television. We're not just going to talk about them. We're not just going to look at them. We're going to hear from them. I'm going to interview them, and then we're going to go raise some money for them, okay? We're not going to just watch one of the teams go to Florida. How about we send them all to Florida? Why can't our kids deserve the best? I'm going to share one thing with you.
We can't hear back
How's that? Is that better? Is that better? Testing. This is my audio guy. Okay. I'm going to share one story with you about raising money to send the kids to Florida. There was one guy, friend of mine, fraternity brother of mine, and he's like, "What is Beacon House? What are you guys doing?" He was in the newsroom, and I told him, and he says, "I'll tell you what. I'll write you a $5,000 check as long as you don't tell them where the check came from." I'm like, "Yeah, okay." This friend wouldn't mind me sharing with you now who he is and who he was. Robert Johnson, the founder of BET. And I'm gonna tell you the kind of guy Robert Johnson was back then. We were on a plane together years ago. And I was going out to California to cover the state legislature out there voting on full voting rights for DC. And Bob was on the plane too, flying out of BWI airport. And I'm like, "Bob, where are you going? Why are you going to California?" He says, "Well, Bruce, I got this idea of starting a cable operation that caters to African Americans." And I cut him off, being the little arrogant young punk of a reporter that I was. And I said, Bob, you need to get a 9 to 5 like the rest of us. Nobody's going to buy that idea." And so I repeated that story to him in the newsroom when he's talking about this $5,000 check. And I said, "Yeah, Bob, I use that now in my speeches." And he laughed and said, "Guess what? So do I." Again, it's my pleasure to be here tonight. We're going to look back. We're going to celebrate this incredible organization and the people behind it. But we're also going to raise some money, some serious money. I'm not here to waste your time, and I'm certainly not here to waste my time. And so it's got to be a big sum, or they won't invite me back next year. We're going to bring up the dinner chairman right now, David Ty Johnson. We've already established we're not related.
We're not related. Good afternoon, all. Good evening. Welcome to the 30th anniversary of Beacon House. It's just an amazing occasion. I'm just so happy to be a part of it. Before I begin, just wanted to I'm sort of in awe right now. I'm starstruck because I grew up watching Bruce Johnson on TV, and it's just an honor to be on the stage with him. So I just wanted to tell you that, sir. All right. Thank you, Bruce. I actually started my association with Beacon House back in 1999 as a tutor, 20 plus years later, and I'm still excited about how Beacon House supports youth in the Edgewood community. This part of the program actually calls for me to tell a personal statement. I sort of went through and I went back and forth of some of the stories or what I really wanted to tell. But my story at Beacon House, my journey at Beacon House starts with a gentleman by the name of Rodney Cephas. And so if it wasn't for Rodney, I wouldn't have come to Beacon House. Rodney introduced me to Beacon House. He brought me into Beacon House, allowed me to see the operation. Had an opportunity to meet a young lady by the name of Stacy Erd, who was just so exciting. And she greeted me with a hug. And, she's like, "What is your name?" And I said, "Ty." And she said, "Hi, Ty." And, from that point on, every time I saw Stacy, she would always greet me with that hug and say, "Hi, Ty," And then I came up, I had an opportunity to see the tutoring program, and I became a part of it. I came up and I became a part of the Beacon House family. And there she is. Hey, Stace. Came up to be a part of the Beacon House family, eventually coached baseball, later came up to do football, basketball. We did some things nationally, football, basketball. We were regional champions in baseball. Had an opportunity to meet a lot of great people. As the board chair, I was fortunate enough to, get selected to be the board chair. Had an opportunity to work with a gentleman by the name of Jerry Kidner. Rev came up with this vision, and, Jerry and I would be all over the place selling it, and Jerry was just so passionate for it. He would enter a room, he would talk about Rev, talk about the kids, talk about the vision, And when we left, we had everything we needed, and people were, drying their eyes and things like that. And, Jerry was a tireless worker. He worked really hard. And again, I wouldn't have had an opportunity to do any of that, if it wasn't for Rodney's introduction to Beacon House. And then, of course, I got a chance to meet Reverend Robinson, and we've spent a lot of time together. We've developed a relationship. He's like a dad. We've done so many things, and we really spent a lot of time during the pandemic, of all things, going to the store, getting medicine, and going out and going to the park and doing different things. But Beacon House has definitely been a special place for me. All right. So when Cherie approached me about the 30th anniversary celebration last year in 2021, we're in the midst of a roller coaster ride in regard to the pandemic. So it's especially nice to be here in person tonight. Young lady stole the Reverend stole my line right there. So what I'd like to do right now is take the time to introduce Cherie. She's actually up next. Cherie Skinner started her tenure with Beacon House in December of 2017 as the first ever full-time director of development. Cherie has spent the last 4+ years growing philanthropic giving at Beacon House. Over this past year, Cherie has led a committee of board members and staff and volunteers, all culminating in tonight's celebration. So this is her brainchild. So with that said, and without further ado, I'd like to introduce Cherie Skinner.
Thanks, Ty. Can you guys hear me? I know I never need a microphone. But we have, read your reactions, and that we know that we're having some audio, like you guys want to hear us a little bit better. So we're working on it. All right, we're working on it. So who comes after me, then speak it to the microphone. I don't need to, but okay. First of all, I'm so excited to be here tonight. Any of you guys who have talked to me tonight, you know that I started planning this anniversary 2 solid years ago in 2019. And then 2020 came along, right? And we know what happened then. But this has been 2 years in the making for me, in my thinking about it and how it would all, turn out and flow out. And listen, you guys got to give yourselves a round of applause for being here tonight. I mean, I'm so excited to see all of you. This is amazing to me. I really worried whether we were going to be able to celebrate this tremendous milestone. I mean, 30 years is huge. I really worried whether we were going to celebrate it in a manner that was worthy of this milestone. And I'm so excited to say, yes, we are. And we're all here, and this is wonderful. So I'm going to give you a little bit of timeline of how this all, flowed out. With the pandemic and everything sort of upended, I was like, oh my gosh, how are we going to do this? But at some point, we decided we needed to forge ahead. So before the end of 2020, I began to have meetings with folks and saying, hey, we got this anniversary, really want your help. So I began recruiting committee members before 2020 ended. And it was still in the midst of the pandemic. And then over that time, we got to the point where it was like, all right, I've got a committee now. And what else are we going to do? So over 2021, beyond planning for this event, we did quite a bit over 2021, which was the technical 30th year of Beacon House, because it was incorporated at the end of 1990. One of the things that we did was March 2021, we launched a brand new website in honor of the 30th anniversary. And hopefully you guys saw the splash of that when we put it out there. We're really excited about that. We launched a 30 for 30 Legacy Society campaign, which you're going to hear a little bit more about. And And then for the entire year in our newsletters, and hopefully, is everybody getting the newsletters? Getting our newsletters? If you're not getting our newsletters, sign up for the newsletters. So the entire year, every newsletter, we had some kind of highlight article related to our 30th anniversary. And then we ended the year by being the WTOP Charity of the Month. That's big stuff around here, right? It's big. And then if you guys, who's following us on social media? Social media, come on, people. Facebook, Instagram, all of that. Then we also did a 30 stories over 30 days campaign in December, where we highlighted different people who really contributed to Beacon House in its current state. So the anniversary has provided us lots of opportunities to broaden awareness about Beacon House. So this week, did you hear Kevin on WHUR this week? He was on WHUR this week. And that's exactly what we wanted this 30th anniversary to do. It's been a really full year for us, all leading up to tonight. And as mentioned, the committee began helping us a full year ago. So I am thrilled to acknowledge a special group which has resulted in tonight's awesome celebration. I want to tell you guys something before I read off the names of the committee members, that we set a fundraising goal of $100,000, and we have exceeded it. So thanks to all of you for being here, sponsoring tables, donating, telling your friends, getting the old crew back together. We came in tonight having raised more than $105,000. And Bruce said, we're raising more. So get ready for that, all right? Okay. So I really want to acknowledge committee members who have been in the foxhole with us for the last year. I'm going to read off names in alphabetical order. Not all of them are here, I believe. And I want you to hold your applause to the end, please. So you've already met our event chair, David Ty Johnson. The other committee members are, and if you're here, stand, wave, do something. Cindy Grady, Shannon Herbert, Brianna Hogan, Glenda Lee, Jerry Kittner, Sam Lipson, Matt Miller, George Niederhe, Sheena Sadam, and Danielle Smuts. You guys didn't stand. What happened? Did you wave? What happened? Stand up, committee members. I'm not playing. Stand up. Up, 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 up. Stand up. Thank you. Thank you. While staff will be recognized much later, well, not much later, but later, I must mention the staff members who were also members of the committee, particularly Patrina Paxton, who's the director of operations at Beacon House. Did you guys hear? She had a baby yesterday. Oh my God. We thought she was going to make it, but, well, the baby had other plans. Rodney and Kevin, also in all the committee meetings and calls. So lots of participation from our staff team. Also pivotal to the success of tonight are obviously our sponsors. I said we came in with $105,000. I mean, from the beginning, I envisioned an event that would raise funds to help Beacon House execute on some of the growth and innovation projects that have been on our list for the 4.5 years that I've been at Beacon House. And so these sponsors are really, and all of you, your donations, ticket buyers, you guys are really helping us to move the needle. So due to time constraints, I'm not going to read off everybody. There's a nice list in the journal, and not everybody even made the print deadline, but we will acknowledge everyone that has contributed tonight. So again, please hold your applause to the end. Our presenting sponsors are, and you got to stand. I'm going to make you stand anyway, so you might as well just do it at the beginning, okay? Cal Leonard and Sheena Sadum, please stand. Platinum sponsors, Gerald Kittner. Matt Miller is not here tonight. Gold sponsors, Pillars for Dignity. Farah Ahmad, are you here? And Michael Tate. Sis, Farah, hey! And our printing sponsor, Listen. Oh, he's my angel, my saint, my everything. George Smuts of Printing Concepts. Donated the journals, the invitations. Oh, my goodness. My hero. So thanks to each of you. Applause, applause. That's in my notes. All right, you heard me mention that we launched a 30 for 30 Legacy Society campaign, and one of our former board members really was instrumental in the process, and I'd really like to bring her up now. So Linda Gustitis has been involved with Beacon House from the beginning. Her husband, Bob Johnson, you guys know Bob? All right, where's Bob? What? He just left to go to the restroom. Well, when he comes back, we're going to give him a standing round of applause for being in attendance as a founding board member of Beacon House. I mean, that's incredible. So his name actually appears on the Beacon House Incorporation documents. I mean, that's amazing. All right, well, most recently, Linda served on the Beacon House Board of Directors, which included serving as the chair of the Development Committee. During that time, she helped me launch the Beacon House Lighthouse Society. Many of you are members of that, a recognition group for high-level donors. And since leaving the board, she's continued to help Beacon House with fundraising by connecting us to DC area philanthropists and helping to establish our Legacy Society. So Linda, come on up here, Linda.
When I came up about the microphone fix, I wonder how many of you thought it was the Will Smith moment. Oh my God. I realized, oh my God, it's so fresh in our memory. What was I doing? All right. Thanks. Thank you, Sherry. As Shree's mentioned, Bob and I have been involved with Beacon House from the beginning. And while Beacon House has enriched the lives of so many young people in the Edgewood neighborhood, it has also enriched our lives. We have 3 decades of memories, and during that time, we are proud to have seen the growth and progress that Beacon House has made. For tonight, Cherie asked that I acknowledge our Legacy Society efforts. Last year, with Cherie's encouragement, we launched the 30 for 30 Legacy Society in connection with the 30th anniversary, seeking to identify 30 donors who have included Beacon House in their estate plans, helping to ensure the sustainability of Beacon House in the years to come. While we didn't reach our goal of 30, we are off to a great start. Some of us have a choice to give some of our money away when we depart this both beautiful and challenging world. It's a privilege to have the opportunity to do that, and it's a privilege to have Beacon House as a possible recipient. Bob and I assessed what we could donate after taking care of our children and grandchildren, and Beacon House was one organization we felt good about including as a beneficiary in our will. 9 other individuals have made that same choice. And while each one deserves your enthusiastic applause, per Cherie, I ask that you please resist the urge until I read the full list. The inaugural members of the Beacon House Legacy Society are Anonymous, Nancy Davis, Phil Davis, Ty Johnson, John Quokka, Lucretia Lucky Marmon, George Neatery and Roberta Stack, Ann P. Wood, and Bob and I. Thanks to each of you. Thanks to each of you for helping to ensure a strong future for Beacon House. I also want to acknowledge the help we received from Marsha White and Nancy Davis of Accotink Unitarian Universalist Church, one of the many UU congregations around the Beltway that continue to support Beacon House. And I also want to acknowledge as also the great work and enthusiastic support of Cherie. It is very easy to join the Legacy Society, and we've put Legacy Society information on the tables. If you'd like more information, you can visit the Legacy Society website, which you can find on the Beacon House website, and I encourage you to join this group. There is no time like the present to work for a better future. Thank you.
So the information that Linda mentioned looks like this. So it should be on your table. Pick it up. All right. Bruce, you're up.
That was great. If she had done a Will Smith on me, I would have just said, how big is the check going to be? Okay. I need to recognize Reverend Robinson over here, because I could probably count on both hands the number of people that have done the kinds of things that he's done in the city. I don't know if you've been around long enough to know the old Edgewood Terrace. H.R. Crawford, a former DC council member, former assistant secretary of HUD, used to run, maybe even owned Edgewood Terrace at one point in time. And I would cover the community and all that was going on around it. And H.R. Crawford one time opened up his briefcase and showed me he carried a gun to work every day. That's how dangerous it was. One of many communities which our kids were forced to live, where parents, often single parents, were forced to try and make do and keep their kids alive and healthy. I needed to point that out. That's why I was so excited when I got to go back to Edgewood Terrace. And we didn't just cover the football team. We were there when the buses rolled up and the families were there and the chaperones were on the buses, and then they sent pictures back of study hall. I couldn't have been more proud. I didn't arrive at work in the days immediately after that. I soared into my office like, there, bam. Those are my people, those are my kids. And that's who we are. So just a point of personal privilege, I had to throw that out because that's what Beacon House means to me and these young people. I predicted that would be the beginning, that a lot of them would go on to do great things, and we're still in the middle of those stories. One of those kids may have the cure to cancer. One of those kids may be the first elected senator from the District of Columbia. So we can't afford to give up on anybody. Okay, it says here I'm supposed to introduce Kevin Hinton and Shannon Herbert. I'm excited to bring up the leadership of Beacon House. Kevin Hinton is CEO, Executive Director of Beacon House. Beacon House's Board of Directors appointed Kevin CEO, Executive Director in February of 2017. After he served successfully for 5 months as interim Executive Director, they made him try out for the job, see if they wanted to keep him. So if you do the math, Kevin is also celebrating an anniversary, 5 years as CEO, Executive Director. Shannon Herbert is chair of the Beacon House Board of Directors. Shannon has served on Beacon House's board since mid-2018. Upon her election, she joined the board's finance committee, which gave her the chance to utilize skills she's honed over the course of 20 years in banking. Shannon has helped Beacon House strengthen its financial management practices and implement strategies to promote its long-term financial sustainability. On the way to becoming board chair, Shannon served as board treasurer in 2019, then as vice chair in 2020 and 2021. Kevin and Shannon, please come up.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, I'd just like to thank you all for being here this evening. We have amongst you people who've traveled from various parts of the country to be here. And so I just want to express my gratitude to all of you for everything you do to support Beacon House. We are all here because of the vision of our founder, Reverend Donald E. Robinson. Yes. Yes. And the impact of our after-school education and youth development programs on children and families in Edgewood. Because of Rev's vision, lives have been changed, and hundreds of children in Ward 5 have received a strong foundation for future success. Despite the inequities that they face, the students we serve demonstrate year after year that they can and they will achieve academically. Further, our students and alumni are making their mark on local and national stages and in multiple areas of endeavor. They're doing great things, and they're giving back to Beacon House through their involvement as volunteers in our programs and through their financial support. Their successes are a source of pride to all of us, and they are a testament to the power of Rev's vision and to his belief in what children in Edgewood can do. I couldn't be more proud to be Beacon House's CEO and executive director, and I'd like to thank each and every one of you once again for supporting Beacon House through your participation in this wonderful event.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for being here, and thank you all for being supporters of Beacon House. I'd like to take a moment just to recognize the board members that are here. If you could please stand. I know some folks waved last time, but I would like for the board members to stand. I see you, Sheldon, Ryan, Kim. As board chair, I have the privilege of serving alongside experienced and passionate executives from the DC metro area. Sheldon is our secretary, Dawn, who could not be with us this evening, Barbara Clark, who stood previously, Ryan, Glenda Lee, who could not be here, and Kim. Nearly 2 years ago, following George Floyd's murder in May 2020, this board, along with our staff leadership, affirmed its commitment to ensuring that Beacon House is here for children in Edgewood for as long as Beacon House is needed. The funds that tonight's celebration is generating will help ensure our ability to fulfill this commitment and sustain our work to help children in Edgewood achieve their greatest potential. On behalf of our board, I'd like to thank you for being here and for your support of children in Edgewood this evening. Thank you.
And now I would like to acknowledge our tremendous staff who have distinguished themselves time and again for their willingness to go above and beyond to fulfill Beacon House's mission. Our leadership team is the group of director-level managers who help guide organizational decision-making. And so we have Rodney Cephas, our athletic and mentoring programs director, who will celebrate his 25th anniversary at Beacon House this year. We have Cherie, who you've met, our director of development, and Patrina Paxton, whose new arrival emerged a couple days early into the world. So they are enjoying their bonding experience. right now. And in addition to our leadership team, we have our program staff who work directly with our students during the school year and during summer camp. They're the reason that we've been able to change children's life trajectories over the past 30 years. And so we have members of our program staff with us this evening. If you could stand and be acknowledged when you hear your name. And I think we've got some photos there. Not complete, I think there's a missing photo. But first, Shay Anthony. Shay here? Okay, Shay's not. I don't see Shay. Sydney Fitzpatrick. James Gray. There we go, Sydney. Natalie Page. Stephanie Parker. Shari Small. Excellent. Demetris Spate, Robert Wade Jr. All right. If I could have a round of applause for our staff. So now I have the pleasure of presenting the first award of the evening. And this award is going to go posthumously to H. Jeffrey Leonard. Jeff Leonard helped our founder start Beacon House in 1991. He served on our board of directors through the mid-2000s, including as board chair from 1997 to 2006. Jeff helped Beacon House navigate a range of challenges, and he inspired others to give to Beacon House. In 2007, Jeff and his wife, Carolyn, granted Beacon House over $1 million to strengthen our finances. Following that transformational gift, Jeff consistently contributed $1,000 a month until his untimely death in the fall of 2018. Here to accept this award for Jeff is his wife, Carolyn Leonard, affectionately known as Cal.
Beautiful. Okay, got it.
I almost felt like I won the tennis award that they got those gigantic glass things for, and they were trying to haul them out. You know. Anyway, thank you very much, Kevin. This is an enormous honor, and I am very proud to accept it on behalf of my late husband, Jeff. It was through our church, Cedar Lane Unitarian Universalist, that Jeff and I first connected with Rev. Rev made a powerful impression on our family with his descriptions of the challenges and needs of the kids in the Edgewood community. And his description included some key features: a view from the inside and his lived experience, a vision of what needed to happen, and the determination to make it happen. Jeff embraced Rev's vision and brought his eagerness to take action and get involved, his business acumen to apply to operations and governance, and his effective outreach to numerous donors, bringing resources to achieve program goals. During his years on the board, Jeff led by example, going to football games, working on after-school programs, and making financial contributions. Jeff would be tremendously proud of what Beacon House has accomplished through its sustained vital role in the community. Congratulations to everyone who has helped Beacon House succeed. And let this celebration attest to the fact that Beacon House is not only a bright beacon, but also a mighty pillar in the lives of children and their families. Thank you very much.
This is what happens when you get old, when you retire. Hearing from folks who are associated with Beacon House really paints a wonderful picture of this organization and the way the founder, Rev, was able to bring people into the organization to help. I've seen a lot of people, try to be leaders, step up, try to fix something, and only make it worse. It's when you see somebody build something almost out of nothing and see a need, and not clamor for the camera and the attention and that sort of thing. That's God's grace working. And a lot of my best stories have come that way, where you just gravitate to those people and you see the result of God's grace. So, Reverend, again, thank you very much for all that you do. One of the people drawn to Beacon House was Rodney Cephas. He's the guy, he was my go-to guy, at Beacon House. He's the guy that I talked to. He's the guy that called multiple times during the day. And sometimes it might be the mayor, somebody else. You got to put on hold because Rodney's got something to talk about. And it's always important. It was never for himself. And I'm sure he wouldn't mind me sharing this, and I won't give much details, but you need to understand what people like Rodney Cephas go through, because you never know when you're going to get that call that something bad has happened to one of your kids. And I'm a reporter. A lot of times when I call, it's bad news. And we had already established a relationship. We'd gone through the good times with Beacon House. And it was one of those times when one of the kids that he and this organization had invested so much into. And this kid ran into somebody, or trouble ran into him. And it happens more than once. I just throw that out to let you know the stakes and to let you know that these people are putting it on the line every day. Rodney, thank you for all that you do, man. Rodney Cephas has served as Beacon House's athletic director since 1997. In 1999, the first football team was formed. Since then, Rodney has grown the Beacon House athletics program from a one-man, one-team operation to a multi-sport boys and girls program that not only includes championship competitive football teams, but also basketball, baseball, and cheerleading teams. I got to tell you about one of those football teams. One of the players on one of the teams was Hope. And Hope was the girl playing, I think, defensive end. And I just gravitated to her. She gave the best interviews. She was a leader. And she was ready to go to Florida and bring back a championship. And I understand she's not here with us tonight, but I understand Hope now, as a freshman, is playing varsity basketball for Ballou Senior High School. I'm looking forward to seeing her again. I saw a picture. During a typical year, the athletic program engages over 300 youth with help from roughly 90 volunteer coaches, including fathers, mothers, uncles, cousins, siblings, and friends. Rodney is committed to teaching not only physical education, but sportsmanship, discipline, team building as well. He serves as a positive male role model to hundreds of youth. Rodney? Rodney.
Hello, everybody. These past 2 years been rough. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to see everybody. We talk about what Beacon House has done in saving children. It save adults. Before I started working at Beacon House, I was lost. I was doing stuff. I was just lost. And it's a story that leads up to it. I was in high school, my 12th grade year, when I met Ty Johnson through my uncle. I was playing flag football with adults, and a lot of people was like, man, he too small, he can't play. And Ty had known us and known my family for so long, and I played good and I played with adults. So when we get up here and we talk about Beacon House saving children, it saved adults. It saved me. Everybody in this room should be proud of what Beacon House is and what Beacon House has done for the Edgewood community. Not just Edgewood, this DC. I'm not going to just say Edgewood because people leave and they come back. People move to Maryland. We have people who come from Virginia. And when they get to Beacon House and it's home, they leave, they come back, people volunteer, and all that is because of the foundation. And the foundation is Reverend Robinson. He laid the groundwork. So again, I want to thank everybody that's here. You played a very positive role in Beacon House. 30 years, nonprofit organizations don't last that long. Since COVID, a lot of people who I work with other organizations, they folded. Beacon House, we still here, we still standing. So I want to thank everybody in here. It's a great honor to work with so many great people. I've been asked to recognize 30 years of service for Charlie Robinson. As mentioned in the journal, nearly 2 years before Beacon House officially started, Charlie Robinson met Reverend Donald E. Robinson. No relation. If anybody know Reb, when you say Charlie Robinson, Reverend Robinson, he always say no relation. As he was handing out food and milk to families in the Edgewood community, as a resident, Charlie relationship in the Edgewood community families instructed and gained families' trust. Once Reb secured a donated apartment to start the programs, Charlie was our very first staff member. For 30 years, Charlie has been a consistent presence at Beacon House. He has led our nutrition program, ensured we had meals for the youth. We were not distracted by hunger, and as they received their homework or participated in team sports, Charlie also helped coach basketball, football, and served as a camp. Charlie retired from Beacon House in late 2021 after serving the Edgewood community for more than 30 years. this award in appreciation for over 3 decades of service. Accepting the award on his behalf is his sister, Sorella Robinson, who is also a volunteer at Beacon House. Sorella, would you come up, please? It's kind of heavy too, Sorella, so don't drop it. Come to.
I'm gonna kill you. Think about me in the
Sorella's scared to talk, but thank everybody tonight, and I can't wait for the party to start at 9 o'clock.
That was great. Thank you. Sure. Show that video.
We edited it. It's a little shorter, but it's pretty cool. So I'm gonna show you.
Called it a Hail Mary of an effort. The Beacon House football program in Northeast DC needs your help to raise some $70,000 before Friday. The cash will cover the cost of a trip to the American Youth Football League's national championship for 4 separate Beacon House teams that won regional titles. We're talking 104 players, ages from 6 to 14. We've got a small sampling of those players right here. Coach Rodney, thanks for coming in again. Tell me, how close are we to our goal? Because we're going to raise that money.
We're about $48,000 short.
Okay.
But we still out working and trying to get every dime that we can get.
Okay, and we've got until when?
We got until Friday morning.
Okay, because you need to leave Friday.
Yes, we need to leave Friday.
Okay, and we need about $70,000+ because that covers all 104 kids.
Yes.
Transportation, hotels, that sort of thing.
Yes.
Okay, let me have that mic back this way because I'm going to talk to one of the women here. What position do you play?
D tackle.
Okay, what's your name?
Hope.
Hope. Okay, and Hope, how are you doing in school?
I'm doing good.
Is that right? What grade are you in?
4th.
Okay, I was talking to you in the green room and I was asking you what you wanted to be when you grow up, and you said what?
I said I wanted to be a girl that plays football, and I want to let all the girls out in the world that they can be anything they want to be.
I heard that. You told me you wanted to play in the NFL, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, welcome back. We're at Beacon House in Northeast Washington. We got 104 young people here waiting on the buses outside. They're going to be making the trip to Orlando, Florida to compete in not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 championships, and we're wishing them well. They're quite confident. All you got to do is talk to them, and you're going to hear it. I love the fact that the girls are playing football also and holding their own. Here's one of my favorite. Hope, come over here. Hope plays D-line. You're looking forward to going, turn around this way. You're looking forward to going to Orlando?
Yes.
Okay. I understand you didn't get any sleep last night.
Nope.
Too excited?
Yep.
Okay. What's the first thing you're going to do when you hit Orlando? Don't say Disney World.
I'm gonna play the game.
Going to play the game? Okay. You're focused. You ready to go?
Yeah.
You want to make a prediction? How many sacks you going to get?
As many as I can.
As many as you can. I like that. One of the last things I said to Hope when you become famous, don't forget me, your first interview. Like, Bruce who? What is he, what? Oh my, yes. Have you seen this picture? This is her as a basketball player for Ballou Senior High School. When they showed me that picture, I'm like, oh my God, she's gorgeous. I mean, so, she needs an agent, okay?
because there's a lot of money to be made here. Okay. So I'm totally lost. What do I do now? So we're past the videos, right? Does Ty join me on stage again? Ty,
That's the plan.
Ty Johnson, no relationship.
No relation.
I missed that. What did she say? Right.
Yeah.
So and we've seen the video, right? So now Ty and I do our thing, right?
No relation.
You're gonna show me another video.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beacon House's programs focus on closing the education achievement gap that exists between students of color in Ward 5 and their white peers. Despite the significant racial and economic inequities our students face, they demonstrate year after year that with our support, they can and will achieve academically.
I got my book published through Beacon House. If it wasn't for Beacon House, then I wouldn't be a published author that I am today. These people have really seen me grow up since I was like 5 years old. It makes me feel like there's always going to be people who know who I am and who like understand me. To have this as a constant, to have this space as somewhere, be like, yeah, I know Beacon House. I actually grew up there. I actually am honored to be able to say that because it's a community. You're going to make friends no matter what, no matter who you are. If you're just open to joining the community will accept you.
Okay, now we get down to business. Again, I'd like to introduce David Ty Johnson. No relationship. And I'm so glad you're not 6'5", 6'10", you know, 'cause yeah, okay. I used to say to my photographers all the time, if I were 6 feet tall, it wouldn't be fair to the rest of you guys. But I just, same for you. Your wife's over here laughing at that. So now that you've heard remarks from a few people, we hope you are really feeling generous. Beacon House needs your help to grow and innovate its programs. 30 years ago, pencils and paper were plenty. Today, computers, tablets, technology, STEM programs are needed to help our youth in their preparation. Beacon House needs to be able to track the students who participate in their programs.
Many of you are invited guests of a table sponsor or a friend. If you haven't donated to tonight's 30th anniversary celebration, now's the opportunity to help Beacon House get to their next level of programming. There's always been a focus on academic achievement at Beacon House. 94% of our graduating seniors are going to the colleges, universities, trade schools, or joining the military.
There are two ways that you can give tonight. There's the grassroots way. Pull out your credit card or your checkbook, and some people still carry the checkbook. And some people really still carry those. There are pens and donation forms on your table. You can fill out one of those.
Or you can pull out your phone and go to their website, beaconhouse.org/30th-anniversary. beaconhousedc.org/30th-anniversary. beaconhousedc.org/30th-anniversary. And click the green donations button.
Got it. Okay, I'm going to start high. $3,000 in honor of their 30th anniversary will help ensure Beacon House remains a strong and stable beacon of safety for youth in the Edgewood community. And as you've heard, they go well beyond the Edgewood community. And at that level, you're automatically included as a member of the Beacon House Lighthouse Society, which is a group of donors of $1,000 or more who receive exclusive updates and special recognition. $1,030 is the cost of 1 week of summer camp for one young person. And again, at that level, you're automatically included in their Lighthouse Society.
$530 can provide 2 weeks worth of one-on-one reading or math. tutoring sessions. $300 can provide supplies for a series of STEM lessons.
$130 can provide safety equipment for a student athlete participating in our athletics programs. Even $30 will help. $30 can provide age-appropriate reading collections to a participant for literacy improvement. We hope you will give generously. Thanks, Ty.
Thank you, Bruce. And thanks to each of you for supporting Beacon House.
We're a pretty good team. You should bring us back next year. While you're working on your donations, I'd like to bring up a representative from Ward 5 Councilmember Kenya McDuffie's office. Silas Grant, a special presentation from the council member that he'd like to share right now.
Good evening, everyone. I bring greetings on behalf of the Ward 5 Council Member Kenya McDuffie. But I also, before I read the proclamation, I want to just take a personal moment. I grew up in the Edgewood area, and I've seen the work that Beacon House has done for a number of years. And in my capacity in the council office, I've worked tirelessly with many of the members of Beacon House on a number of occasions, and also as an ANC commissioner in previous years working with the organization. I saw Coach Rodney come up and he spoke, and I'm reminded of all the phone calls that he and I have had, and you all truly have a champion in him. There have been many times where he's called me and said, Silas, if you don't get that permit, I'm going to have all these parents at your door, and they're not going to be happy. And so we've spent nights and days working with Beacon House to be able to get the things that they need. And so I'm really happy to be here today. I want to read this resolution, the ceremonial resolution that was passed by the council. And it is the Beacon House 30th anniversary recognition resolution of 2022. Whereas Beacon House was founded by Reverend Donald E. Robinson in 1991. Whereas with the support of Edgewood residents, Community Preservation and Development Corporation, and members of the DC metropolitan area's Unitarian Universalist churches, Reverend Robinson began offering homework help to a dozen children in a donated basement in the affordable housing complex then named Edgewood Terrace in Ward 5 in Northeast Washington, D.C. Whereas Beacon House has remained in the same affordable housing complex, now named Edgewood Commons, for over 30 years, and has grown to serve more than 400 youth annually in 2 6,000 square foot centers. Whereas Beacon House is a Black-led, Black benefiting organization serving youth who are 96% Black and 4% Hispanic Latinx. Whereas Beacon House, led by Athletics Director Rodney Cephas, expanded its programs to include athletics in 1999. Whereas since 2003, Beacon House has been recognized as one of the best nonprofits in Washington, D.C. by the Catalog for Philanthropy, Greater Washington. Whereas Beacon House received its first 21st Century Community Learning Center grant funded by the U.S. Department of Education from the D.C. Office of the State Superintendent of Education in 2007. Whereas during 2016, its 25th year of serving the Edgewood community, Beacon House received the Local Innovator Award, given to organizations making outstanding and innovative contributions to the health of a community via physical activity, promotion from the Physical Active Special Interest Group of the Society of Behavioral Medicine. Whereas over the past 13 years, 94% of Beacon House graduating high school seniors plan to attend college, enlist in military service, or attend a trade school. Whereas because of Reverend Robinson and his vision, hundreds of children in Ward 5 have graduated from high school prepared for success in post-secondary schooling, work, and life. And whereas Beacon House turned 30 in December of 2021 and is hosting its 30th anniversary celebration on Wednesday, March 30th, 2022. Resolved by the Council of the District of Columbia that the resolution may be cited as the Beacon House 30th Anniversary Recognition Resolution of 2022. Section 2, the Council of the District of Columbia recognizes and honors Beacon House on its 30th anniversary and for its outstanding dedication to a safe environment and community service in the District of Columbia. Thank you.
That was nice. Ty said more than once, I grew up watching you on TV. So there's a compliment in there somewhere. One time when I went to interview Kenya McDuffie, wasn't a big story. He never gave me a big story, but he says to me, your daughter and I graduated from high school at the same time, Wilson High School. And I'm like, that's not going to help you with this story. So, I get that a lot. Grew up watching you. Okay. That resolution was special. How are we doing with the donations? Okay, we're here to make money. How are we doing? Everybody okay? There are large envelopes on your tables. Put your donation envelopes in those and hand everything over to Kevin Hinton. Where's Kevin? Okay. Kevin will take your money. I'm good, Kevin. I'm good for $1,000, okay? All right. Right now, I'd like to bring up Jerry Kittner. Jerry was an early volunteer who then served on the Beacon House board. And when that wasn't enough, he became a staff member and served as Beacon House's executive director. Jerry.
Hi, everybody. So Bruce and I share the fact that we're both retired. But unlike Bruce, my day consists of walking my dog a few times a day. And as I look at the time, it's getting close to my bedtime, so we have to move this along. Let me say my personal thanks to Cherie and Kevin and the staff. This is a wonderful event. Stacy Gold, who is a former executive director of Beacon House, and I worked with her. We put on 2 of these, and it's a heck of a job. A lot of variables that you can't control, and this is so impressive. I had, several conversations with Cherie, and every one of them was really terrific and professional. And I'm kind of jealous, Kevin, that I didn't have Cherie as a development director. Development directors are worth it if you can find the right development director. It's very hard to do. It takes a certain person, and Cherie obviously has those qualities. So congratulations to Cherie and Kevin and all the committee members too. So one more time for the people who put this together. So standing up here, I don't know how I seem, but I'm absolutely terrified. But I'm also very gratified to be up here. It's wonderful. This, among other things, this event brings together people that haven't seen each other. It's a community. Beacon House, I always say Beacon House is several communities. And this event brings together a lot of different people that haven't seen each other in a while. And it's a terrific culture, terrific environment. Anyway, so I'm going to try to get through this.
best I can. Here we go. During the confirmation hearings of Judge Ketanji Jackson Brown, Senator Cory Booker said that he was not going to let the awful, unfair grilling by GOP senators steal his joy at witnessing the elevation of this incredible Black woman to the Supreme Court. 30 years ago, Reverend Robinson decided he was not going to let the extremely unfair social injustices steal the joy from the lives of the innocent children of Edgewood Terrace. And that's exactly what he did. And that's why we're here today. As has been mentioned, the societal ills facing the children back in the early 90s were enormous. Back then, Edgewood Terrace had one of the highest crime rates in the city. The Washington Post called it Little Beirut after the war-torn city in Lebanon, which is like Mariupol in Ukraine now, but that's how it was, and that's what they were comparing Edgewood Terrace to. When I first came to Edgewood Terrace, what I saw was a very grim set of apartment buildings with boarded up windows and garbage strewn about and just people loitering. It was really something. So solely through the force of his will, Reverend Robinson somehow created this miracle of a place that over the past 30 years has lifted thousands of people, young people out of poverty and onto lives of financial stability and healthy, loving relationships. There are plenty of numbers, as you've heard tonight, that affirm Beacon House's accomplishments. The average grade point averages of Beacon House children are higher than their peers at the schools they go to. A very high percentage of Beacon House children graduate to the next level, and as you've heard, a very high percentage go on to secondary education. And after that, they go on to careers in many fields. And indeed, it's those numbers that garner Beacon House the grants from foundations that help sustain the program year after year. But harder to quantify, but at least as important, is Beacon House's effect on the character of the children that pass through its doors. Beacon House is like an oasis. Once children come inside, they feel safe, they feel seen, they feel valued, and they feel cared for. There's a palpable sense of love and kindness that permeates Beacon House. So Beacon House children are indeed able to do well in school and move on to jobs and careers. But equally important, Beacon House has played an important role in helping to develop loving mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, siblings, aunts, uncles. They've become community and church leaders, friends, and neighbors. And that nurturing, affirming culture inside Beacon House is due to Reverend Robinson. He sets the tone for every staff member, tutor, and volunteer. He brings out the best in everyone because everyone so respects and admires this dear man. As Rodney said, it's not only the children who Reverend Robinson has lifted up. He gave people like me and Rodney and all of Rodney's coaches and Charles and Ty Johnson, the people in this room tonight and many, many others, a vessel into which we could pour our heartfelt desire to do more than just take care of our own, to create a more fair and just playing field for the innocent children of Edgewood. Reverend Robinson has given my life so much meaning and purpose, and for that I am eternally grateful. Of course, Reverend Robinson didn't do it alone. Enormous credit is due the residents of Edgewood, who entrusted their children to Beacon House, and despite their own struggles, persevered in giving their children love and opportunity. In addition to Jeff Leonard, there was Stacy Gold, who served as Beacon House's executive director for 13 years, and among other things, got Beacon House's financial house in order and professionalize the staff and professionalize the operation. And Rodney and his army of coaches who have touched so many lives it's impossible to count. And Beacon House's gruff father figure, Charles Robinson, who I can't overstate how important Charles has been to Beacon House. The children just gravitate to Charles. He's like a big oak tree, and he's a great guy. He's a unique individual. And then there are Beacon House's program partners, including the Edgewood Brooklyn Family Support Collaborative, REACH, Shout Mouse Press, For Love of Children, College Bound, Catholic University, the area UU churches, and the Community Preservation and Development Corp., which is now called Enterprise Community Development, as well as all the volunteers, the numerous volunteers who are too numerous to mention. Today, Kevin, Cherie, and the rest of the Beacon House staff are continuing to grow and develop Beacon House towards even greater achievements and impacts, and ensuring that Reverend Robinson's legacy will live on. I've often contemplated what makes Reverend Robinson the special person he is. He's one of the humblest people I know. He never seeks recognition. He's not wealthy, but he gives away too much of his money. He loves people, and he loves making people smile. There have been several occasions when I've ridden in a car around the Edgewood Terrace neighborhood with Reverend Robinson, and he would see somebody walking on the street, and all of a sudden he would roll down his window and yell out at this person, "Hey, what you up to? You up to no good?" Something like that, you know? And the person would be startled, and they'd look around, and then they'd see Rev, and then you get a big smile, and, "How you doing, Rev?" And all the while, Rev would be cackling that infectious laugh he has. He's a man who has an enormous heart, who was so bothered by the injustice he witnessed that he gave up his safe and secure job and embarked on the journey that is Beacon House. It's his deep empathy for those children, his burning desire to give those children a better chance at life, and finally, his ability to inspire and move people to join him in his quest to fight injustice that are Reverend Robinson's defining qualities. If you were somehow able to draw a line from 1991 to today and hang pictures of all the children who have come through Beacon House, you'd see a heck of a lot of joy. Thank God for Reverend Robinson. So I have a competing proclamation. This one is from the mayor. Sorry about that. I'm going to read the mayor's proclamation. There are a lot of whereases in these proclamations. Whereas Beacon House was founded in 1991 by Reverend Donald E. Robinson to close the education achievement gap among at-risk children and youth in the Edgewood Terrace, Edgewood Commons affordable housing community. And whereas the services provided by Reverend Robinson and the Beacon House staff, volunteers, program alumni, and partners include after-school, summer, and athletic programs. And whereas the award-winning Education First Athletics program at Beacon House serves more than 300 girls and boys annually in football, basketball, baseball, softball, and competitive cheerleading. And whereas Beacon House alumni are making their mark on local and national stages in athletics, the arts, entrepreneurship, public service, and more. And whereas Beacon House has changed hundreds of lives by helping to disrupt the cycle of poverty for children and youth in Ward 5, and by using the power of education to put them on paths to success in college, careers, and life. Now, therefore, I, the Mayor of Washington, D.C., do hereby congratulate Beacon House on the celebration of your 30th anniversary. Muriel Bowser, Mayor of Washington, D.C. So, please join me in bringing up our beloved man, my dear friend, Reverend Robinson. Okay, so they'll take a picture and then we'll put it back. Okay. Sure. Okay. Oh.
Give me the papers. Give me the papers.
Okay. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, man. Oh, have mercy. I need to tear this up because everything just about has already been said. But in order to get my point across, I have to read it anyway. You got something you want to say? Oh, yeah, it's not working. It hasn't been working too well. I was sitting over there and couldn't hear my hearing aid, but I think it's working better now. Yeah, okay. Yeah. How did I get here? I'm from a community in West Virginia about as big as this room. I have a family of 14 children. Well, I want to say good evening to everyone. It's good to have you here today. And thank you all for your coming here to celebrate 30 years of positively improving and transforming children's lives. I thank you for inviting me to this 30-year anniversary. I'm glad I'm still here to celebrate it with you. If you go back, I was born in 38. So if you look at my expectancy, I should have been gone about 30 years ago. Helping children to do better in life was never a 9-to-5 job for me. It was always a calling. I always believed there should be a light to guide our youth to safety, success, and a supportive network. We all require some type of help at some point in our lives. However, the earlier we help children, the better the results, and hopefully the fewer pivotal missteps, mistakes, and miscalculations children must endure. People have talked about the number of kids, about 94% of the kids graduating from going to college or high school. They've been talking about it here today. You have to understand that when I got to Edgewood, children were dropping out of school on the elementary school level. They would go to school the last week or two of the month to get food, play with their children at recess, and go home when the school started back. Many of you have here took this journey with me. And the bottom line for all of us has been about saving kids and families. And it has been about inspiring and helping children to be the best that they can be. It has been about positively influencing second and third generations and beyond to constructively thrive throughout their lives and to be progressively contributed to the betterment of society as a whole. And I think a lot of the children who came through Beacon House do that. that we have to care about children because they are our future is in fact true. It's up to us, the adults in the room, to provide the tools and environment resources and guidance for our youth to succeed. When we succeed, we all succeed. Society succeeds. Just finding a place to start Beacon House Community Ministry was difficult. When I went into Edgewood, I joined an organization there and met Miss Rosaline Nicholson, an Edgewood activist, helped me to get the use of an unoccupied 4-bedroom apartment to start Beacon House. When I started Beacon House, it was the money in my pocket. And sometimes I reached down, there was nothing. I thought it had a hole in it. As many activities known and things ramped up, lots of help came from the Unitarian Universalist churches and citizens from around Washington, D.C., and from Bob Johnson. If it was not for Bob Johnson, I don't know if I would be here today. Bob, would you stand? Bob was a community organizer, trained by Sol Skalinsky, one of the best organizers in the world at that time. And he helped build Beacon House. Bob did. I called him Dr. Johnson because I thought he had a PhD in something. Bob Johnson, a Unitarian Universalist and a community organizer, was a tremendous help in providing resources. We also attracted talented volunteers and contributors from Catholic University of America here, which is close to the Edgewood community. You have to understand, when I started Beacon House, in a new group of kids coming to Catholic University, in their orientation, one of the things was, don't go to Edgewood. I mean, that's just how bad it was. I mean, people thought I was crazy to even think about coming here. Some of the students, which is close to community, provided many teaching volunteers and students from Howard University and volunteers of that time. Operationally, Beacon House was open 5 days per week. On Saturdays, our half day, we had an arts and crafts program and fed the attendees breakfast and lunch. The Saturday arts and crafts program was provided and done by Unitarian Universalist churches around the Beltway. You had 4 churches would organize an activity, bring breakfast and lunch for the kids in Edgewood. Beacon House offered the children a variety of attendance and opportunities wherever we had gone into the support and programming for the children. We ran a 5-day camp program during the summer. Each spring, Beacon House had kids participate in the Maryland University Science Program. We went out there and they'd have a cow standing there who you could see the inside. I mean, kids from an inner city doing all of this. We started an athletic program in our 3rd year in Pop Warner Football League. Rodney Stevenson was working at the Recreation Center about 2 blocks from Edgewood. And he was telling the kids, where can I get some football equipment? And because we had a program before he got to the program down at the Recreation Center, the kids said, oh, Rev got some equipment up there. I told him, you go back and tell Rodney, I don't only have football equipment, I have football players. And we won the Eastern Regional almost every year in 3 or 4 teams to go to Florida to play for the national championship. Beacon House bottom line has helped numerous children to graduate from high school and to earn scholarships to college. We stopped children from dropping out of school and improved their educational abilities. It was a win-win all-around situation. Education is the key, and that's what I was all about, is trying to get the kids so they could participate in the world. As Beacon House evolved, grew, and expanded, we developed new activities. For instance, athletic program with Pop Warner, our Saturday arts and crafts program, and our summer camp program, our computer center, and our numerous committed volunteers and supporters. At one point, we were trying to get together a Beacon House children's choir out of my pocket that had that hole in it. We didn't have it, it wasn't in the budget, but I was paying a guy to come to try to teach kids music and play the piano and to sing. As I said prior, Beacon House operated 6 days a week in conjunction with the community. In order for children to dream a better life, to strive for a better life, they have to know what is possible. They have to be exposed to science, math, music, sports, kindness, and support, etc. A lot of us found our joy in life by happenstance, by luck, by having great parents and a great community. Beacon House became a good community for children to be in. Well, I am forever grateful for many, many people for the success of Beacon House. As I've noted above, Beacon House succeeded because of the Unitarian Universalist churches and their members around the Beltway and throughout the metropolitan area who committed themselves by saving help and helping the children in the Edgewood community. You have to understand that people didn't want to come to Edgewood. You couldn't get a cab if you were downtown to Edgewood Terrace. Where you going, Edgewood? No. I mean, that's how bad it was. Yeah, like Jerry told you before, in an article in 1995, they referred to Edgewood, it referred to the author, he thought about Edgewood being something like Beirut in the Far East, where people were fighting a war for years and killing each other. The UU churches around the Washington Metropolitan were instrumental in the evolution, expansion, and success of Beacon House. The churches provided volunteers as well as financial and technical support. Edgewood community members joined with me and the UU churches to help vulnerable children. Even grocery stores helped me contributing food that I picked up every morning. I would walk into the Giant or the Safeway. There was a gallon of milk that had a date on it. They know they couldn't sell it the next day, so I would get it. And I knew it would be gone in 15 minutes once I got it to Edgewood. A loaf of bread, all of that, the churches had to throw away. And I said, just give it to me. And that's what I did. And I did that for a long time. There were so many to name, not enough time to name you all. You know who you are. You know what you did. Beacon House was definitely a joint venture of many involved people, organizations, and funding streams. I'm so grateful for what everyone contributed and the help provided, whatever great or small. The football program helped players attend private high schools. We sent about 8 kids to a private high school down in Virginia. One of those players is here today. He's a college graduate and doing well. Melvin, would you mind standing? Yeah, all of those young men that went down to that school in Virginia, graduated from high school, got scholarships to college and graduated. They're doing well in the world today. I'm just so thankful for you all coming and those that have given us support. You have to understand, I went to Howard University Divinity School and became a minister. Well, I graduated. I had to go to St. Elizabeth Hospital and work in a program over there that trained me to work in a Unitarian Universalist church. I had to spend 6 months in a UU church. I did it in Rockville, Maryland. You have to, you can't understand what the Unitarian Church has done. They took kids home on the weekends to stay in their houses, to join their churches. We help people break down the thought of racism. Kids who didn't know what white people were about, you know, and it helps to improve both communities, you know, that know, and people would say, oh, all these kids aren't bad, but everybody thought they would be thugs or something, and they begin to understand that they were good children. They just needed help, which they got and received. And then the children understand that all white people are not against me. They love me too. This is one of the most important things that Beacon House Community Ministry has done with a lot of kids who are now out in the world understanding that racism is something that we can work on and improve and be better at. And I want to thank Stacy for showing up years ago to help us with Beacon House. You can stand up too. Yeah. She's a graduate of Catholic University School of Social Work right here. Yeah, and she was working in the community and doing well. Where's Lucky Mormon, who is a big supporter of Beacon House? Lucky, please stand. Nadine Cahotas, please stand up and say hello to the group. A big supporter of Beacon House. If you go down to Edgewood now and look and walk in the front door, you'll see a picture of me about it. Oh, big, huge, that she was responsible in getting it done. And she helped me buy a piano to start the kids to learn music and do all kinds of stuff. And Nadine was a big supporter of Beacon House. Well, I had a lot more that I wanted to say, but I want to turn it over. But I want you to know that the Unitarian Universalist churches, I did 6 months at Rockville Unitarian Church. And then when I was ordained at All Souls Church in Washington, D.C., All Souls. And then after that, I started looking for a place to start Beacon House. And because I had worked in just about every inner city in America, far southeast, I'd worked at Montana Terrace and all them different spots. I ran into a policeman that I had befriended with his daughters to get them in a summer camp. And he said, man, they got 2 guys over there who have a program at Edgewood. Maybe they'll let you come in. And they worked every day, so I could go in there. And that's how I got started. That's how I met Miss Rosaline Nicholson, whose son is here today. Ron, please stand. That's Miss Nicholson's son. Yeah. Taught children. Introduced them to writing books. There are books that children have that was written right there at Edgewood. First was a group of girls, then later there was a group of boys. You know, people, they don't understand how, and you need to understand that the drug dealers fell in love with me and Beacon House. In the earlier years, after about a year or 2 I was there, they told everybody in the community, I ain't gonna use the word they use, but don't mess with white folks coming into the community because they know we were there helping them and their younger brothers and sisters to get an education and do well in life. And I wish I could explain, had enough time to talk to you all. Yeah, I just want to say one other thing. When I was working with district government, went to work one morning over in far southeast, and I saw these two little kids on the curb eating French fries that somebody had thrown away the night before, that the rat probably has tasted and done something with. And I've seen kids at Edgewood share a 25-cent bag of potato chips, because the one who had it had to give up because he or she knew that I might not have one tomorrow and somebody else will. I mean, food was number one. When the kids understood that I could come to Beacon House and get food, but when they started with there long enough, they understood that education is all right. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you.
You're like me. When you get somebody up here who has something to say, you're going to listen. Reverend Robinson, thank you so much for that. I may not go to Mass on Sunday because I feel like I just been to church. I want to congratulate our award recipients tonight. Congratulations, Beacon House, on its incredible milestone and all the lives that have been improved over the last 30 years. Let's give them another round of applause. Thank you for having me as your Master of Ceremonies. It has been my pleasure being here with you this evening. I knew it was going to be like this, and I just knew I needed to be here. The evening is not over yet. The Spark After Party is going to start shortly. And while they transition the room for that, I'm excited to say that a few copies of my latest book, Surviving Deep Waters, are going to be available. And I think they asked me to say, just one copy per household or something to that effect. And let me just say one thing, and because I'm in television, I can tell this in like 2 minutes. I would have been the perfect candidate for the Beacon House. I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky. And the book is entitled Surviving Deep Waters because when we were kids, we would go down to Chickasaw Park, which bordered the Ohio River, at about the same spot where Muhammad Ali allegedly threw his Olympic gold medal into the river. And we would swing out on the vines and drop into the water and then dog paddle as quickly as we could back to shore because none of us could swim. And that's where the title originates. But you don't get to be in a business for 45 and 50 years and not survive a lot of deep water. And our kids, Beacon House and other programs like Beacon House, we learn at a very early age to survive. We have to make decisions that should be deferred, that young people are entitled to defer. And I came from that kind of background. A lot of violence in my house. My stepfather would get drunk, and he had a 22. And my mother worked 2 jobs, and she would come in, and there would be fights on payday every other Friday. And unlike Will Smith, I got involved. That's my mama. And seriously, police would come all the time. That's how it would break up. And police had to arrest somebody. Most of the time, it was my stepfather. Okay, he's got the gun. He's got his drunk. One time, we were fighting. We all went down in the hallway, and he broke his wrist. And they arrested my mom. That affects you for the rest of your life. I say all that to say, 2 of my brothers went to prison, and I tell people all the time, and they were the good guys. Okay, my mom had other plans for me. She stuck me in a seminary to study to be a priest at age 14. So 14 to 15, I'm in the seminary. And that was the first time, Reverend, I ever met white people. I'd gotten out of segregated Louisville, the West End, met white people for the first time. And I realized they came from these backgrounds and had all these things and expectations that I didn't have permission to even dream about. So I say 2 years. I laugh at about the time I realized, well, you can't get married and you can't have kids if you're going to be a Catholic priest. So, but it was those 2 years. It's kind of like, you know, if Beacon House can get these kids for a little bit of time, that's all you need, a little bit of time, because we're thirsty. We're like sponges. And it was enough of my time to let me know that, number one, I was a pretty smart kid. I would have been taking Greek if I had gone back for a third year. I'd taken 2 years of Latin. And I went to a public school back in Cincinnati, in Louisville. And because it was more important to me to get along, I kind of dummied down. I didn't want to be the smartest kid in the class. I wanted to fit in, wanted to make up for lost time. I say all that to say, then you go to college and a lot of things happen. And so this book is about how I started out and the people that helped me along the way. Two of the best news directors in the world. You know, I was fortunate enough to work for one. Al Shadowcotty had been a copy boy, 8th grade education, white German Catholic guy in Cincinnati. Incredible newsman. I saw him from the second day I was in the shop, watching him break stories. They stole 2 Rembrandts out of the Taft Art Museum and they turned them into him, you know, in the studio. And I'm like, wow. Second story that we broke, we had a vacancy for an archbishop in Cincinnati. So I called back out to the seminary. Anybody know what's going on? And I had left in good standing. Glad you see you're doing well, Bruce. And yeah, we understand it's Joseph Bernardine, you know, from Chicago. So I said, Shadowcotty and staff, I understand it's Joseph Bernardine, you know. Shadowcotty makes a phone call and he turns and he looks at the staff and all these other well-polished journalists and everything. He says, we got a new lead. It's Joseph Bernardine. Make a long story short, journalism found me. You know, I realized, number one, they're paying us to get into people's business. And so I made a reputation. I finished undergrad school in Cincinnati, finished grad school, and was headed to law school when I got the job in Washington. Thought I'd died and gone to journalism heaven when I got here. And I immediately went to Southeast DC when I got here, to the kind of neighborhood that has spit me out. And that's where I made I planted my flag and developed my reputation. And I moved in with a family there back during the crack days. We spent a lot of time, Edgewood Terrace too, but Southeast DC, and telling not just the crime side of this, but we talked about single moms and grandmothers trying to raise their kids in this kind of situation. And it was my job to go to those grandmothers and ask for a picture of your kid. I never had anybody deny me a picture because I would always say, and other reporters never caught on to this, I would always say, I don't want police to tell the story about your child. Tell me something that my viewers need to know about your child. And every mother dried her eyes and talked about the dreams and aspirations she had for that child. I'm going to stop right there. But that's what my book is about. And then it's about journalism. It's about what goes on in TV stations. It's about race. I covered the sex abuse scandal in the Catholic Church. And I went back and looked up my classmates in the seminary. There were 13 of us, just to make sure everybody was okay. There was one guy who was kind of hesitant to tell his story. And it took him until like a year ago to call me. We've never seen one another since then, 50 years later. And he told me that he had been abused, okay? And he gave me the details and gave me permission to tell that story. These are the kind of stories that are in my book, because as Chris Rock is in the news right now, but I'll remember Chris Rock once said, when you meet me, you meet my representative, the person I want you to think I am. When you read this book, I want you to know the person that I am. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Bruce set up to sign those books outside where you came in, and you can get your book signed. We also have the Black Boys Dreaming book, which is a book authored by Beacon House middle school students for each of you. My only instructions for the book